Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on Dr. Fundi channel. My name is Fundi Lenyati. I'm the host of this channel. Today, as part of the Heritage Month, we are going to have another conversation, a very interesting conversation. It's a conversation that talks about who we are as Africans. So today we are going to be talking, about the cultural practice of i-Lobola. We're going to be talking about that practice. But before I go further about why we are going to talk about that, let me introduce my guest. So on my left, immediate left, they normally say ladies first. So we're going to introduce the lady. It's Dr. Mqombotis. All right. Mqombotis. Many of you know her as Siviwe Miller, but something just happened in the last month or so. So that's the name of Miller is used at a professional level because that's what is in her MPCH certificate. But anywhere else, she is Mrs. Mqombotis. All right, and I'm with hubby, Mr. Sikumbule Mqombotis. That's the surname that my colleague has decided to take on from the 20th of August. This year. A little bit about my guest. Mr. Mqombotis is a practicing attorney based in East London. So I have to be very careful about the things I say. If I make reference to the customary law of marriage, I must be sure that my facts are right in case something goes wrong and he corrects me live. Dr. Miller is a medical doctor, obviously, and she's my colleague here at PHS. But she's somebody who is doing quite a number of other things, but at the end of the day, she's a medical doctor. So the reason why I've invited my two guests, Mr. and Mrs. Mqombotis, earlier today, as I was writing, preparing for this, I said, actually, it's an SnS. Skumbule and Siviwe, they recently got married the customary way, following, a very fast-tracked Lobola negotiations process that took place on the 19th of August. That's less than a month ago, which was followed a day after by, I would call it a cultural practice of ukwamkelwa komtshakazi. Which took place in my hometown of Umtata on the 20th of August. So they negotiated Lobola, they formalized the customary marriage, everything in one weekend, and to me, that's a very, very interesting and courageous move from both parties. And so I thought, if we're going to talk about Lobola, there's no better couple to talk to than to talk, to Mr. Mqombotis and Mrs. Mqombotis. Welcome to Dr. Fundi channel. Let's start with Mr. Mqombotis. Tell us, welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, thank you so much.
Yes, izenzo zakho zizwe zizibekela la uba ungakhuphanga Lobola mhlawumbi ongekwa so welcome, thank you very much for honoring my invitation, and then my colleague
I can say that no.
All right, Siviwe, Mrs. Mqombotis, aka Dudu. All right, welcome to the Dr. Fundi channel. You've been part of this channel when we were doing other interviews, academic bullying and things like that last year. So you are not really a stranger to this.
No.
But today, you are actually part of the subject of discussion today. And ever since last weekend, August, Mr. Mqombotis, you brought so much excitement in her life.
But this is the thing. I've been saying that guys, our married friends really underplayed marriage. Very much.
No, the guy upstairs, he's got his timing, and we've got our timing. And sometimes, we think that our timing is what should actually, happen. But how it's going to happen, how fast it will happen and everything. So we really need to talk about, each journey, because for me, it's a very inspirational journey. Your journey of meeting, courtship, Lobola, the actual customary marriage, and the honeymoon that actually followed, so for me, there's many people about opinions who are saying to receive. Because so there are many people who are not sure if this thing will ever come to them. And so your story will certainly inspire people to hang on and wait for, usuku uThixo alubekileyo for banabo noko bababalwe ngokuthi bafumane iqabane, so but the reason why I chose this topic though is that we are in the Heritage Month, and the Heritage Month is really a month of us celebrating we are Africans, those things that make us to be proud Africans. And one of the things that, makes us to be uniquely, this group of people called Africans is the cultural practice, i-Lobola, especially, in the southern part of the African continent. i-Lobola, the group, but also the Sutu group and other groups within, the country. i-Lobola is something that is practiced. Now, as I was preparing them, I saw an article that was written on the 1st of August of 2013. This is almost 10 years ago on News 24. And it had a question: is Lobola or Lobolo still relevant? Now, that was in 2013. Is it still relevant? All right. And there were divergent views that came through in that article. Many people supporting it, but a handful of people, worried about things like commercialization of the practice, and that sometimes it may make us as males to think that we own females, but that was a minority of people who had those concerns. Another article on the 2nd of September in 2019, which was written by a lady who's Sotho-speaking, Karabo Mkwena, also had an article that was entitled "The Culture of Lobolo in the 21st Century." So what happens to the guy who earns 8,000 a month, but who wants to get married, but cannot afford? So the angle there was, isn't the practice of Lobolo maybe an impediment to abantu abafuna ukuba husband and wife? So that was the angle. And the person was also saying maybe it's contributing to cohabitation. That was the view, of the lady in that article. I also stumbled across another article, but this one really it's a thesis of a master's student, yes, UKZN, SnS, who's doing population studies, or at the time was doing population studies at UKZN. And her research, under the College of Humanities was, is Lobola in contemporary South Africa, i-Lobola in contemporary South Africa, perspectives and experiences of young people. So she decided to interview a number of young students at UKZN to hear their views about cultural practice of i-Lobola. And once again, one of the recommendations at the end was maybe she needs to do a follow-up study, or someone to do a follow-up study interviewing older people, because the people she chose to interview didn't have much knowledge. They had views, but they didn't have much knowledge as to the importance of this practice. So with that background in mind, Mqombotis, you decided you are going to go and ask for the hand of your wife now with family. If my facts are right, within a day or two of you guys having met, you made up your mind, but and you decided you are not going to waste time. You in fact told her, before she came back to Joburg, but on the 20th of August, what happened? What happened? You guys had just met, but you actually knew deep in your heart, but this is my person, and I'm not going to waste time to make it formal. That's not what I'm saying.
To the listeners, and say good afternoon to everyone.
Yes.
I think that's first and foremost. And secondly, make a remark.
Yes.
Excuse me about my voice. I think I've not been able to gather my voice over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to make a remark about an observation that I've made about you. To say, I think you understand why you're actually having a talk show. Because I realized that the profession that you chose is not a profession for talkers. You can't do what you love to do. So I can see that this is basically the platform that you use to unearth the inner you.
Yes.
Because we've gone for a period of 20 minutes now where you've been talking and I'm like, oh, this guy.
He likes
to really enjoys talking. But anyway, it's not something that has not happened every time I've met you, by the way. Yeah. So that's the second point. But the third point, I think you actually alluded at some point, to say you may be corrected here or there. So you must be careful about what you say.
Yes.
Okay. I think first and foremost, Doc, you made an introduction. You said I'm a practicing attorney.
Okay.
No. I'm not a practicing attorney.
Okay.
I don't know why this thing follows me so much because I keep correcting people everywhere I go. I'm not a practicing attorney. And being an attorney, it's something that I even dread. I don't like to do.
Yes.
It's one of those things that I don't understand within the field of law.
Yeah.
And so forth. But as things stand, I'm still completing my LLB degree.
Yes.
This is my final year.
Okay.
But although it's my final year, because I'm someone that is passionate about law,
yes.
I have involved myself for getting experience and all of that with a law firm and other legal practitioners to come and learn about law and so forth and so forth.
Yes.
But I think maybe I might just find myself being an attorney as opposed to being an advocate, which is something that I'm intending on starting next year, because I've applied for pupillage for next year, and then which is the line that I love the most.
Yes.
But I've actually witnessed how much absorbing it is, and I think of my young family, and I'm like, do I really want to go into that space? Being a businessman, now also being an advocate, that is it not really being unfair to my young family and my beautiful wife? So I'm not even sure even again if I want to go into the field of the advocacy. It's something that we're still discussing within the family.
Yeah.
Then lastly, another correction. Is that you said immediately after the Lobola went on a honeymoon. No, it was not
in inverted commas.
It was not a honeymoon. But again, it's one of those things that people mistake because it happens immediately after that time.
Yeah.
But it was actually my birthday on the 22nd of August.
Okay.
So it was actually my gift from my wife and to ourselves to say, look, you are turning 40 now. And then what you want to do when you're 40, everybody, like my friends, my family, everyone will say, no, a big birthday and all of that stuff. But for me, it's something that didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
So I said to her, this something like what we did, which is to go away together, spend time together, which is something that doesn't happen all the time. For me, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
And also being able to drive on the garden route on a birthday, for me, it was something that it was like, corrections. Again, May, thank you so much for the welcome. And thank you so much for the invitation. Now let's turn to the
kwenzeka ntoni le yakomba andizuphozisa amaseko apha ndiza kuyitshaya ikubo.
Look, Doctor, the story is like very simple, very straightforward. Yeah. I go to a kaya, another house up in East London. I think it was around about this time. September, October, towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
I get there, I know that I go home in.
Yeah.
Then they are and yes. She just walks down the passage and open the door. It's like who's opening the door.
Yeah.
Then I greet, and then I'm like, I introduce myself, who I am, and then I then say, look, I'm just coming here for the small thing that I'm giving.
Yeah.
So I gave her the small thing, I left. I never saw her again. So
umane kunika sesijonga esiyagxileyo ingathi kukwi-facts ezithile mhlawumbi ongazibiziyo uba it was not a coincidence as such. You know, ingathi kukhona isandla esithile macala omabini esafasilithethi naleyo ungayitshalenji leyo.
Now, all I can do, I can only tell the story from my perspective.
That's all.
And so I left.
Yes.
Then go May Klonyaka.
Yes.
Senda isaziso somzi. Now, once again, it's another thing that was misunderstood in my life. Everyone is saying I'm doing a housewarming.
Yeah.
Why am I not invited to your housewarming? Why am I not invited to your housewarming? I'm like, I see a housewarming that's called. It was never a housewarming. Yeah, it was a traditional.
Your housewarming is in
No, it's not a housewarming. It's very different.
You know, isn't it about introducing this gift of a home to abantu abadala?
No. It's actually bringing abantu abadala
to the house.
The house.
Okay.
No, it's got nothing to do with an introduction or a celebration.
Yes.
It's actually bringing them to be with you.
Yes. That's all.
So, but there was something that was very strange that happened at that time. Like literally, the popular speak. You know, she brought a gift, like again, and then when she got to the house, the gift. She says, no, I want to give it to the lady of the house. And then when Mama says, no, I'm only lady of the house here. Then it's like, no, I'm not giving this gift to the wife. You know, but there was just that consistency from people like, I can say for everything, but we are praying and praying for a wife. you know. Then
and those prayers were happening in many nations. Anyway, it's all right.
So then there was lastly Utakabawam that came in, who was not able to come in at the time. Then we came in the following week, what homes.
Yeah.
And then she got there and then she started praying. And then honestly speaking, there was someone in my life at the time. You know, and was thinking that she's the wife, you know. So basically, abandoned were like so resistant of here because they were thinking that it's imminent that I'm going to make that decision, you know. And other people that were not intrusive, then they were accepting, that decision can come anytime. However, a few days after that time, I get a call from my sister. Uthi ufuna ukwenza a surprise birthday for a sister of a friend yakhe. Then she reminds me that this is someone that I know or I might know. Then she takes me back to I was not there last year. You know, I'm like, look, I've got no problem. If you're comfortable and you would do this at your own house, do that. Fine. So the date comes and so she arrives a day before on someone's work. But yes. Yeah. So then she comes. But Doc, honestly speaking, there was always something about Yena. You know, whether it's from the conversation, whether it's from the looks, whether it's gonna be from a comment that she makes, but there was always something about Yena. You know, Doc, I'm not saying that because remember, I think Lando Yenzeka for when the right person comes along to the right place at the right time.
Yes.
You know, we were talking about that.
Yes.
You look at Tito Lena and so on and so forth. So it happens in God's time.
Yes.
So it so happens that at that time, I just happened to look at her differently.
Yes.
To the way I did Galami You know, but she gets there. We had a very, very good time.
Yes.
And I think Nama became a very good host.
Yes.
To on the weekend. Then she got back to Joburg. Damkapa to the airport, and she left. And it was a Sunday. It was a Monday. It was a Sunday. Yeah, it was a Sunday. Then she left. Then there was the Sunday when she got to Joburg, Sangola. Then it was a Monday. We didn't really speak. So, on the Tuesday. Like literally when I say
Go over
like literally when I say started on the Tuesday. Started on the Tuesday, she makes a call, she's looking for legal advice.
I want legal advice. Manyani na
Let's believe it. Yeah, well, but then the importance of that is that the phone call lasted 2 hours.
Yes.
Then we'll speak again later that evening. And then the phone call I think would have lasted for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
We never stopped speaking after that. We never stopped speaking. I mean, literally, we never stopped speaking. You know, there was one night where we spoke for about 13 hours on the same call. You know, we've not asked a guy. So but there were things like that.
Yeah.
So we decided to start dating. Phone call. And remember, I said to you, there was someone in my life. Yeah. Then the 16th August. Then Katulaka June, sorry. Then Uza was like, I wanted to come and visit. Yes. Then we just come to visit the 16th June.
Ndiyakhumbula ngokudansemthatha eSt. John's.
That's all. The 15th June, I just take a decision to do away with, to let go of Nomtu.
The
15th June.
Yes.
This is like I just take a decision, like just dawns on me, but look, I must take this decision now. I took it, you know, and then I never looked back.
Yes.
Then she arrives in the 16th.
It became the 15th.
Yeah, she arrives in the 15th. So I took that decision in the 14th.
Yes.
So she arrives in the 15th. Then we are together on the 15th, and then we go to a function together on the 16th.
Yes.
Then so the 15th and the 16th actually represent the first day of us, like literally, officially and physically being gay.
After the language forming, but
yeah. So we spent the whole day together on the 15th, and she was 16th. She was such a great company to have. Then at some point, then she at the end, when I say function is I come back to Yena. I've got absolutely no thoughts about tomorrow or next week or next month or next year or in the future. Get to Yena, we are together. I just tell you on the 20th of August, they are going to i-Lobola. Just like that. And this is like literally, like, I'm saying, it's actually the first day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, get 20 August, you're going. And I say, oh yeah, tomorrow I can't get 20 August, get 22, get 21, get 20 August. It's like still really
outside of 13 hours.
Yes. And she said yes. She says no. So she says, are you then proposing? No, I'm not proposing. I am telling you, you're going to study is going on. And why are you going about it? So what you so baby, I propose the proposal. I was the bandit, I was the flower. This one, this is the person that you come across, this is the person that you met.
Yeah.
So then the next day I go to my parents, I say, look, Tata, Mama, injured. And then okay. And then they looked at it and like, look, we approve.
Thumbs up.
Mama says, look, we approve. My brother, look, we approve. And so forth and so forth. So for me, what she has been to me since day one. Yeah. It's just shown to me up until now that whatever has happened, right. Look, Doc, I've still been confronted with I've still been confronted with up to the point of the 20th of August over EP engagement ring. I mean, even for my own family. Yeah, but to me, it's not about the engagement ring. It's about ukuchata, umendo, you know, which is what is i-Lobola is part of. Which is umendo. That is what to me it is about. Now, once you step out, or kneel with one knee, you know, then for me, we understand. Then that's basically what it's been about to me, which is i-Lobola. And I believe that they are very difficult. You know, for me, Mamaya, Uzocho, we're having a conversation.
Yes.
But it's taking us long. For me, that it's one of the most painful things that we do to ourselves.
Yes.
Now, even I believed that when you go, for instance, and i-Lobola, but Msham is going to be part of another part of your conversation. That constitutes a marriage. There's a marriage there. It's recognized by law, it's recognized by everybody.
Yes.
Now then, how do you then open your charter? Obviously. Because I'm not one of that. you sign a court over here.
The civil marriage.
Civil marriage. You're already married. You know,
I think, don't you think it's the challenge that we as Africans are challenged with? Uguti, there is the traditional side of ubomi, but we are also influenced to some extent by the Western, and remembering also Uguti, when the colonial powers came here, they tried to do away with izinto zethu. So in some situations, bakwazile ukusucceeda ukuba silahle sityeshele amasiko nesithethe ethu. Yabo? So we have this situation then where on one side, ezazinto zo-banded knee, nofaka kweringi, eziwayinini, nokuthini, yaqonda, abanye abantu bayazifuna kureport. Yeah, but at the core of who they are and the families they come from, they recognize a foundation of umtshato, umendo, is uyenze ngesintu. That is, you know, you do it as a lobola and all the processes as fanele. So I think see schizophrenic in some way. As Africans, no you know, I mean, as a medical doctor, there are situations where as Western people, you know, Western trained doctors, we cannot actually deal with certain illnesses especially you know, illnesses of the African people. So we live trying to go to whatever, but you know, but what I want to know though, when you look at yourself, would you describe yourself more of an African traditionalist in terms of putting more value in the how or Kokobetu used to do izinto?
I would really love to be that person.
Yes.
That's because we believe that you
yes.
They lie there. The reason why we are activated by luck, the believer, is because we've shifted from who we are. When I would see you say, you put it lightly when you say the things that we do, like our culture. No, it's actually moving away from our being to navigating towards things and beings that we are not. And now this is where you loosen and detract from your roots. And if you then detract from your root, you cannot grow.
You know, obviously, you know, we've dominated as males 40 minutes out of the 60 minutes, but the question is still the same. Tatekaya, uzile, wati ndifuna ukuthumela abantu kokwenu to negotiate umcimbi welobola. Now, this came, you know, on day one of you guys having spent your time together, you know. So how did it land? And the idea of lobola, and what is your idea, you know, or what value do you put in following the traditional, I would say African traditional practice, cultural practices?
Thank you so much, boss. Thank you, baby. Oh, yes, no, and by the way, it was a weekend. I was at work. Okay, just like planned out somewhere, you know. But thank you so much for the platform, and I'd like to say hello to everybody that's watching. And you know, maybe just a bit of context and background. I grew up in a Christian environment, from Christian schools and even from varsity, and so the element of chada, that's all that I've known.
Yes.
So now you come and you meet a guy who is literally ticking the boxes that you prayed for.
Yes.
And yet, akazanga is like you know, I think like he's been put in that box, but he's not. Everything else is okay, but like he's not in that box. So it was more an element answering your question of what is it that I know God has for me in terms of what I need to achieve. And also at that time, I was personally in a space where I knew that I am ready for a family.
Yeah.
So the ups and downs of Umjolo and all of that stuff, you're just like, can't you just get Undo right? And I think now, Shane, like, you know, after the weekend in Tata, we went to go honor your father over Mike with the statue. You know, you literally yourself, and people are just like, oh, actually, you know, you've got great attributes of helping grow a family one day. And that's always been my dream. So when he said that, firstly, I thought he was joking. I'm just like, you know, I define and play along, but like I feel like really becomes of the thing, I'm in a relationship. So it was the first time over to literally say something and I say do it. And when a guy knows they like literally, like I remember coming back and I just couldn't even believe it. I'm like, okay, maybe maybe it was just the weekend thing. Maybe it's just in the soul, in the things. But literally after that, the stuff that he said he'll do, he did. The letter, yafike khaya, umama kubani lona, like, you know, so somehow she was hoping that she would forever know what's going on. And because also Kumule, being and this is one of the things that I found that was quite hard in dating as a female and as a professional. You are looked on, and even just gentlemen or guys that are around, some literally look at your career and also what you aspire, and it's maybe a deterrent to some. For some, they come in and they've got ulterior motives in that they will want to win with what you have. So all of those things that you have been through, and it's just things that you know, okay, this is not going to work. And also the income bracket, like a lot of things come into play when you are in the dating scene. So already you're literally just like only meeting now, and this person wants to move this into another dimension. But what was fortunate, again, I spoke, you know, those 13 hours, like literally you spoke, and it was very generic. You're just speaking about actually what you think, from politics to culture to religion, like everything. So you sort of understood what worldview this person is bringing and what their value add is. So it was that, but I think for my mom, she was excited but a bit scared. That like, is it going to be okay? Like, he's got what? He was married before. How many kids? Are you sure? You know, so all of those things for her, they were quite worrisome.
But any Umzali will always have that. And I'm sure now in Talalake, there were things, you know, behind the scenes, this and that. Just questioning, they may not have been as open about the type of questions. Was Mama but maybe they were more diplomatic in trying to get to know who is this, you know, civil. Yes, but as you are saying, the 20th of August, and this is like out of the blue, because you know, but clearly, when a man says different Pumela or Malume, or you know, it means that person has very serious intentions. So when you know, before
honestly, I'm like, seriously? Like, I couldn't like, seriously, like just in jail. Oh, by the way, like, oh, yes, you know. So it just feels like a by the way, like there's no thought behind this. And as girls, Cinderella moments, romance, you know, all of that. So you're hoping that there's gonna be a bit of that, but as you said, like he was just like, this is who I am. But at first I was just like, I think it was disbelief. Like, but oh well, I really like you. Like I've really seen also how you are to your kids. And I mean, for a man, this is another thing that when people ask, I got comfort the moment I knew that he he had been raising his 3 kids for the last 9 years by himself. That said a lot about him. So, at the time, I'm like, there's a decision, you know. I'm like, okay, like I never get the slides, like phone, SIM cards disappear. But it was very easy to say yes. And you know, I always say to people that there was just a piece that I could not explain, where you're not so by like, oh, but what if it just made sense.
Yes,
I don't know.
I'm heavy. That's why it's sitting is then that things just happen. We pay the in there. Yeah. All right. So let's move on quickly. So now Melana the 20th. Why Taza na school we Taza right? And one of the things, you know, I kept on getting to this is in an African context. It's not just about you, no school. It's about bringing together of 2 families that previously did not have any relationship, and they now become families as in through you.
Yes.
Yeah. So you subscribe to that as well, obviously. If family was cool, the family because yes. Now, and i-Lobola process is one of the steps towards that, right? When I'm saying that now, you obviously subscribe to Lobola, 2 families. It's not really just about the individualism as a West, but now,
look, it's something that I strongly ascribe to.
Yes.
Njengoba omnye umuntu say emtshatweni ekhokhelisa uThixo ngaphambili. You know, that is true and correct. But kuthiwe umtshato ugcinwa ngomthandazo, which is also true and correct. But yes, we all know into yobana kuphi emonti.
Yes.
But if uphuma apho ungene kunantsika ku N12,
yes,
awusoze ufike emonti. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, of essence is that I kept on saying Goye and to a lot of people that I was talking to say that, look, number one, I know mfazi wam law. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is something that I believe that Singapore will lose a lot when I think the process of entering into umtshato.
Yes.
Right? To say that Lona ngumakoti because remember, they bring this person to you.
Yes.
I mean, there's no coincidence that this person just lands there. You know, she's similar to someone else who was there, but for one reason you feel this way about a similar person, whereby the feelings were not there about another person.
Yeah.
You know, okay, but like there's a whole lot of factors that show in the there's a reason why she's placed up.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And also, in the for me, is that the reason why you say Lobola, and you don't say marriage.
Yes.
You understand? And you don't say ring.
Yes.
And you don't say sign.
Yeah. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
It's simply because lento lena ufune uqinisekise into yobana uyenza ngale ndlela aba bantu bathe yenze abayifuna ngayo.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Yes.
And this is what we miss, and it becomes a cause for so many failures in African marriages. Because imitshato yenu njengoba kuthiwa imitshato yathakathwa. No, imitshato emininzi ithakathwa ngaba bantu bazise either wena ndoda ngapha okanye wena makoti ngapha, because they're angry with how you are doing and not acknowledging and understanding the purpose yabo for this thing that they wanted, not you.
Yes.
You know, for instance, I mean, you look at me, someone, I never I really never wanted to get married again. People that know me will tell you that marriage was not on my plate. Not war, not any time. But for me to change that decision within one day, that there are actually external factors that are actually at play, which are way, way, way more powerful than what and who you are.
Yes.
So I really, really, really agree to say, I know umfazi wakho umfazi wakho in every sense. Also, not umama that.
Exactly.
This is what they miss and they mess up.
Yes.
You understand? Because now umfazi comes there, I think it will come down mama that and forget about everything else that relates to the family.
Now, another question that was coming through in this point, I think I mentioned earlier that this has become a commercialized cultural practice in some corners. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to be asking you about, but obviously, one of the things that have changed in the last 100 years is that when the Lobola negotiations take place, almost symbolically, but but I understand about tell me the significance of how years of also people obviously the money part, because other people now they just continue to do money. And how much each you're going to figure value, but who decided man logos gone and nobody commodity the transaction. As your friend. Just I don't want that thinking.
Honest talk and
yeah. Okay.
The only contribution that I want to make my commodities part is just to say, what I've told them is that it doesn't matter what they want, that's what I will do. Do you understand?
Yes.
And that way I believe that anything that is being demanded, the people that proposed, that don't call the plans to you,
must make a plan.
Provide.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that's what I said for you. And such that on the day, on the day,
19 actually.
Yeah, 19 years. Then on the 19th, on the Friday the 19th, OTO or team yam, whole team, nandiyaqala ukuva umntu othandwa kanjalo undingazange ndayiva indoda yolobona ithi khona zabo noba ufuna imali emadoda ningayiphikisi nibuye naye
How the negotiations?
That's basically the contribution.
Yes, okay.
I guess you can go on.
I'll take it. Depends on who is. And what is the significance of that? But you will bring it these are work.
So I think from maybe just also a little bit of a background, it was, they had been in Lobola before, but things that did not go well.
Yes.
So when he said this, and I was like, oh, okay, that would be great. And I was actually, that was literally it.
They are very expensive. You go with
whatever, like, so actually would be great.
That's very expensive.
So then he
and he did that. That's the train.
So unfortunately, during that time, remember the book that put it in mouth disease. So there was a 31 day, it's a connection, So there was a whole 31 day ban or something of them traveling. So we couldn't get permits for them to travel, but they are at a farm, so they just waiting for the ban.
Sure.
Anyways, what could mean 80? Like certainly so I already identified what that means. Let's say that. So but so that's
and then Umama, no Makazi, and the others, no uncle who welcomed this delegation, Mqombotis also. But
a huge delegation. I think But January 12, 14.
What great time now Singapore. And then she comes driving in the bakkie, and then we parked with S-Motors in Tatu. And then we like outside the cars. And then we're discussing how we're going to approach this whole issue. Because we had some guys coming from Devon, guys coming from Tata, another one coming from Joburg, and then some of us coming from East London. Then, so we had this big team that was going there for i-Lobola. And then, but they make it, almost 20 or whatever. But no, there was just 10 of us. There was not just like that big team. There was 10 of us, you know, at most 12. At most, at the very most 12.
Okay. Yes, all right. So anyway, now, what I want to find out, okay, she said,
you don't want to find out about the name anymore.
Yeah. But just i-Lobola, one of the things what is the basis of whatever price? Then others will say, no, if you got some royalty situation, or it's an education thing, or you know, long time ago. But so that was the question, how do you measure value? But once again, value was not important in the sense that you said, whatever that they are asking for, you know, we will meet because I want to be with her. So, but how much they ask. Did you have any caucus with your mom and your uncles or whatever, or you just left everything to them? Because in the Fundi culture, it's usually males who are dominant in these discussions on either side. In the Sotho culture, it's usually the females who are actually in the forefront, and the malumes, they are more supporting the process. So in your situation, was there any caucus between you and your family, or you were told, I'll get it that way?
No, I mean, we had a whole discussion. So it was my sister, my brother, and my mom. We had a whole discussion about it. And, you know, we spoke about, okay, what we think is reasonable. And also, I think, unfortunately, we live in a country where we are, economically, it's quite important to understand, because I've seen a lot of people go in marriages and, you know, they get in like financially quite stranded or like strangling, I could say so. So I did alert you to, okay, maybe this is the ballpark figure, or this is the range that we're looking at, so then they can take a decision. But at the end of the day, it was Omalune that took a decision in terms of that range. And also, and apparently they just agreed to whatever was said, so they never even down negotiated. Okay.
So, you know, you didn't have anything to pay with your younger.
Initially, Mama was like that. And I think, you know, with my sister and my brother, we could like, you know, at the end of the day, this is someone who's coming also with his assets, you know, like just showing balance sheet, as my mom would say. You know, he's got a positive balance sheet as I've got a positive balance sheet. So it's not like you are sending me away. And also, I think the important thing was that not selling me, because I still belong to you, and whatever that I used to help out and do, it's things that will still continue.
Okay. Yes.
There's something that you read, where the guy was complaining to say, think about the guy who wants to get married for like 8,000 rand.
Yes. The article, I think it's the article, Leai Citizen.
Now then, you also then bring in as well the note, you know,
yes.
And there are two fundamentals, there. Both of them were at play. And both of them actually do influence the 8,000 rands guy. Now, when I come with Inatika,
just hold on. we've been having load shedding for the last 2 hours. The electricity left us at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
It's supposed to come at 4.
Okay.
But we are going to continue and have our conversation. So if there's a break when the electricity in the transmission, we will rejoin within a minute.
Okay.
My tech support team is available to make sure that there's no break. So please, abantu banga, so
yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you, Doc. Doc, what I'm saying is that those two fundamentals, they actually play in that 8,000 rand situation.
Yeah.
But also in the situation of saying value, what value?
Yes.
Now, let's start with the first one, the one of value.
Yes.
The reason why I was married before.
Yes.
And when I was married before, I had a whole lot of say and issue and objections to what amount was being asked for.
Yes.
That side. But this was some good 13 years ago.
Yes.
And 14 years ago. Then, however, I do think that given that same situation again, 14 years older, I do believe that I would still be acting, still 14 years wiser, I would still act the same way with that situation.
Yes.
Then, however, here, Doc, you are not dealing with a valuation of a person.
There's no rent value you can put to a human life. It's symbolic.
To say 100,000, you may find that London moves 100,000 easily a month. You understand? Now, if you are then going to say, that 100,000 places even at 100,000, they're going to look at it that way. You actually devalue it.
Exactly.
So this is why I said to my guys, don't look at that because you can easily distort it. Even that you are placing value on yen.
Yes.
That is what they want for us to have what we want. It's got nothing to do with yen. It's got nothing to do with Zao and Zao. So that's what you must meet because this is what you want. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Just lastly, Doc. The second thing is that this is linked to the guy of 8,000 rand. One of the things that I've said to Yena or Mama is to say that I would never go take a child belonging to another family.
Yes.
Right? I don't care what the financial status of that family, whether it's an extremely rich family or it's a poor family. But you can't take someone from Owabo and then come and subject them to poverty at a place that is foreign.
Yeah.
We don't do that. Now, if you want a wife, it must be because you are able to provide for the wife and the family.
Yes.
Those two things.
Yes.
Now you've got to ask yourself the question: if you are dating someone and then now you want to make this person your wife, you want to make this person your wife, and you have 8,000 rand in this day and time in South Africa, are you wanting to make a good decision now for you and for her?
Yes.
So that
yes. Must is going to welcome. So a day after i-Lobola, uthi xa isixelela apha emsebenzini because uyancokola emsebenzini uthi apha emsebenzini she was then told uba sigqibile kweli cala siyokwamkela tomorrow eMthatha at i-Mqombotis, ukwamkelwa kwakhe as umakoti because nyhani they were entitled i-Mqombotis was present zenziwa kwimfanelo. So there was a ceremony ebikho lasekhaya or umcimbi, mandithi umcimbi xa ceremony siyayidistort khona umcimbi wenzekayo eMthatha yokumamkela.
That's true.
Yes. Waphiwa igama xa kusichazela umcimbi nje wophiwa igama kwakhe and what it signifies, again in the process of umendo.
Okay. Doc, that's true. Okay, fine. It was actually a 3-day,
Marathon.
Weekend. You know, you had your Lobola on the Friday.
Yes.
Then on the Saturday after Sipabilo Lobola,
yes,
we came Sayogomesa Goabo.
Yes, okay. And the exchange of gifts.
Then one girl was Tina Goabo as a bayin.
Yes.
Then Omama Bafiga Bayo stock at Goabo. Then once we're done with that on the second day, number 2,
yes,
then we asked if they were a fella or Ambanai.
Did she have any idea about the request? Okay,
okay. The question is supposed to say, did you guys have any idea why there was going to be this request?
Okay.
We are aware of the request. We are aware of the request to say it's a failure, so that wasn't like higher.
Yes.
You know, respectfully and so forth and so forth.
Yeah.
That's what we understood.
Yeah.
But now, we've then been told, but no, she was an infant also. You know, but it's fine. Everything is behind us now. So we get there. We then I told the man, look, Siamabisa, Simkisuteki, Siamtia, Bombs.
Yeah, it's not a general thing. Social media, you know, in social media, there's so much talk of boyfriend jam in a shop or near more than do pattern and do this one. That I'm telling you, I'm trying to go and so to get things okay. So honestly talking, I try and investigate and reason, you know, with issues that are related to culture and so on. Yes.
I've not been able to associate myself with the changing of the name of someone, and I'm sorry. I've not been able to get into research to establish what is the essence and the importance of.
Kura is just a way of firstly demonstrating to her that she has been welcomed in this family. She has been given this official name through Umendo. It doesn't mean she discards her names, but kwezinye cultures or but in the Xhosa culture, people are given igama, and elagama what they see in her or what they wish for her as part of this new family. So there's a thought and a wish behind the agama. No, amadodakazi ami azakunikeza igama elisileyo, but they give it because they can, because they have authority in the process. So masiyeke ba into behind, but let it become an empowerment.
Okay. Look, the Umama, like she's someone who I think she's very good at giving names. Yes. You know, I think I can give that to you because you know, from Sese to Sese to like my name is Sikombulenat.
Yes, Sikombulenat. Yes.
Then another one Kukakaletu. You know,
our shield.
Yes. Then I was not surprised when she gave a name that I've never heard anywhere.
What's her name? Let me see. Lolwa. Lolwa.
You know, when you go and say law, you know, for me that becomes such a big distort.
Yes, yes.
Such a big distort because, you know, she asks to say, okay, fine, they explain to her to say, you see, we are such a big family, you know, and this family, like even like the household, it's actually linked to so many houses,
yes,
you know. And then we're giving you a name that Lolwako, Lonke, or Losap. Then there are Omakoti that are there before, you know, but then she's being given the responsibility that she must look after Lonke or Losap. But she's the last entry.
You know, very often, why senior?
So yeah, that's the name. And, I think she embraced it a lot.
Yes.
You know, I'm very happy with it because I think she's living it.
Yes, yes. You know, you've got a name that you were given by your new family as a way of, you know, just appreciating who you are and accepting you to the family. What does it mean to you? You know, the fact that you've been honored by being given a name by your in-laws, which is, by the way, now in the African country, we don't talk in-laws, we talk.
So one thing I can say, Doc, is the fact that, you know, I thank God for the family that I'm married into. You know, there's nothing as, you know, as females, there's lots of talk of your in-laws, but you can appreciate the fact that, you know, as you are coming in, they see the value that you bring. Yes, I mean, like, there will be people are people, and there might be just disagreements and stuff. But I mean, I think the biggest thing is that the foundation that we started off on is very strong.
Yes.
The fact that the two families coming together, and just even the whole process, you know, just a little bit, but they've never seen, actually from both sides, they've never seen Lobola that goes so well. Like literally, we're so surprised. I think within 45 minutes they were done.
What?
Like, what's the okay, we're like, what? No, wait, stop here.
It's normally hours. I mean, last time they did about 2-3 months ago, it was a 3-hour affair.
If it was an hour, it was a lot. But at the end, both parties were so happy, and even the both families were so happy. So, and also knowing that what he is for you know, so he is literally that Ubana anchor and the shield of the whole. So now as his helper, then it's almost continuing the function that he has been appointed to do in that household. So understanding those things, it makes it a bit better for you when you're going in, because sometimes, especially if you get sort of self-absorbed in your nuclear family, that you forget that there's, like, you know,
the broader
mama, Badala, and then just open up to the house. But it's a very nice thing. And as much as the
so also you know exactly what. Yes.
Something like that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So so those processes have happened now. You are now an integral part of the family. You know, but we're seeing to right? But we're seeing to
No,
okay.
It's not just the same. It's actually in terms of our laws. Our laws in South Africa. Marriage laws.
The customary
marriage is concluded.
Yes. Teach your law.
Like we say, like we're seeing to. But then no, if it was seen to, it will not apply in court. But now you have the Customary Marriages Act. That says you do 1, 2, 3. Equals marriage.
In fact, there's a very famous person, a high court, you know, because so the question was the marriage concluded in terms of the customary law? You know, so then there were different views in the Zulu culture. You know, at what point do you actually say the marriage has been concluded, you know, to be recognized in terms of customary law? So others say no, but just to Melaban view in Lobola is not enough. But that thing you are moving in the Xhosa culture, for example, that would then mean necessary processes, and therefore it's recognized, you know, in our law. It's recognized in our law, and but unfortunately, so it's equal to no. In community of property, in civil marriage, in community of property, ANC with approval, ANC without approval. But one year it's equivalent to in community of property. So
it's in Africa, Doctor, what actually happens is that our laws in South Africa,
yes,
in general,
yes,
they recognize one type of a law, basically. You have one type of marriage,
yes.
So basically, being that will community property.
Yes.
Now, if you marry an anti-natural contract precedes the marriage, then you go a different route. You don't go the route of the normal route of getting married. So you go the route of.
But I know of people who've gone through the process you've gone through.
Yes.
And subsequently, they went to draft ANC agreement, and then they did the civil thing. So maybe I'm asking with that in mind.
Yes, Doc, what happens? I think it's something that I said before. To say you've concluded in terms of the laws of South Africa, which is the African Customary Laws Act.
Yes.
Now, if you've concluded a marriage in terms of the African Customary Laws Act, I think this is basically it basically becomes a challenge for courts to like a lot of legal practitioners, because once you concluded that process, in order for you to change that in the civil marriage, you can't change it. The only way you can do that is to actually get divorced, because the marriage is concluded. The only way you are able to change umtshato after umtshatile. This is why the anti-natural precedes. You understand? Now, because once you meet 3 years requirements, the consent, in negotiation of i-Lobola, celebration. Then African customary marriage is concluded.
Yes.
Then you can't then say you are doing an anti-natural after.
But it's still done. But anti because the civil marriage as the thing that they still but I'm just talking about what happens elsewhere. And it's part of that confusion. There is the African part of us and the wanting to do things the Western, but there's also the influence or the Western influences on how things are done. And in the process, confusion reigns.
Right.
You understand? So I know of people then who have had those issues. But then as a businessman now, obviously, running business, and then you get into contracts and whatever. Lemeko 50-50 law, the way it status in Kuzo.
No.
Okay, all right, yes, okay, Because when I was in if I now need to enter the contract with a new client that we have signed or whatever, then it does limit. It does limit. But also, if as a risky person, no business, if this thing, KPHS, falls, then those
No.
Okay. Right. Apologies. Like I said, ESCOM has got a way of dictating how things go. So yeah, we just had the normal electricity coming back. The generator was the one that was providing electricity, before then. So apologies for the disruptions, but we are now wrapping up. Really, the discussion was about understanding whether there's still relevance for i-Lobola in the 21st century. But we didn't just want to talk in a vacuum.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about it in the context of people who have just gone through that process. And so I'm just going to ask Fundi Mqombotis, just to wrap up, to say, is it still relevant in the 21st century in i-Lobola? Obviously, Zendozake tell us that it's still relevant. Does he encourage others to follow suit? And I want you, Doc, to also just give your views, just briefly, because I don't want us to take more than 5 minutes from now.
Doc, if you are getting married,
yes.
If you are getting married, or you want to get married, or you decide to get married, and
let's just check something. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
When I say meaning that you are a woman, you are African, etc.
Yeah.
I don't believe that there is a way in which you can actually get married under as
yes,
without joining your elders, your spiritual leaders, your angels, and so forth and so forth.
Yeah.
So in Africa, the only way you are able to do that is through the custom of i-Lobola.
Yes.
Like literally, that's the only way you can be able to get to be able to enjoy abantu abadala.
Yes. Yes.
So what I would say is to say we need to, as a band of business, to do two things. One, to try and protect our being. So by protecting our being is to protect our customs, such as i-Lobola. Then number two, we try and not allow the issue of money to cause a distort when it comes to a very beautiful traditional custom, which is i-Lobola.
Yes. Thank you very much. Your closing remarks, the question was, is it still relevant in the 21st century? To observe and to follow the process that you guys have just followed.
So for me, Doc, I'd say it was very relevant, and I think it's still very relevant because we tend to live in a vacuum, especially as couples. You think one is just a chatting situation. But the relevance of it is that knowing that now you've got two families, should anything, my father-in-law, we have so many to phone him, so I know I've got allies. I know I'll just pick up the phone like, speak to him. So I think beyond just the cultural aspect of i-Lobola, it is just beautiful to see family as in being come together for a common purpose. We want to build the lineage of the family, and that's what it is.
And so you guys are one family, and about a week or so ago, the two parents, the two sets of parents were here to celebrate you, graduating at the University of Pretoria. Yes, one of the many graduations that you've had since you qualified 7 years ago.
But that was beautiful. And also we're a bit anxious because this was the first time that they were coming into our space and the first time that they would be together in such a long time for about a weekend. But it was just beautiful to see, that they literally enjoying each other's presence, even Omama taking them to the bar and then enjoying all of that. So, those are the things. And I remember a friend of mine, when he came to a birthday dinner that he had organized for me, he was like, you know what, with the support that you guys have, you don't have any reason to fail. And that's what's important to us. The fact that Abandus Batanda have said okay to enjoy to a point that.
So it's an approved enjoy.
Approved.
Yeah. No, so a comment that came, I think, from one of my cousins who actually met Doc when we had a function at my home in April. So she's saying, congratulations, guys. I love you. I love this topic. Then boom, into i-Lobola. I'm in a difficult situation between Christianity and traditional izinyanya. But again, mine is different ngokuba ngumuntu wangaphandle and kuvele kwabanzima kakhulu for me. Ndibe bukopana ndathi mayime indoda ngenxa yezinto abazenzayo ezindenze uncomfortable. That I must start a break.
Yeah.
So, these are the challenges that people go through because of sometimes the clashes in cultural differences. And it's important that those are ironed out.
Yes.
I think the beauty when you have a shared, there's a commonality in terms of the cultural background. I guess it becomes a little bit more difficult when it's different cultures or even different races for that matter. But I believe Bautando conquers all. So if there's a will from both parties, to get over whatever differences, love will win. Yeah. So in the case, thank you very much, man, for uzohlala nathi apha ngexesha elinzima kangaka. People are busy in Gauteng. People are busy, and to spend 90 minutes listening to people, and answering my questions, sometimes maybe asking things that are personal, but it was all in just making sure that we are clear about what we are talking about. So thank you very much, Raskumba, and thank you very much, Nabue.
Yeah.
So now I'm happy that you are happy. I'm happy that you are happy. Izakuthi nje uzise ulonwabo kulo lwabo lonke olusa uzise ulonwabo, and may you guys continue to really make each other happy and make sure that la blended family yenu iyablenda nyane and iyaqina nongeze nabanye mani kubekho i-evidence xa sithethe ke nge-maternity uyiqala kakuhle, so asibayiqale kakuhle. The substitute doctor during the time of maternity, but please enjoy your union, and I wish you all the best, and also thank you to abazali emakhaya for making sure that we into yenzeke kakuhle. So from us at Dr. Fundi, we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everybody also in there. Apologies with that slight break, ESCOM, but we have tried to mitigate that risk, and I hope it didn't disrupt you, Kapulu. But thank you very much, and also for all of you, as you begin a new week, may you have a very productive, safe week ahead, and birthday week.
Yeah.
So njeke ngolesihlanu usuku lwam ndiyathemba mhlawumbi noko nam okay ndifumane ii-presents. But thank you very much, and all the best to everybody, and a productive week to you all.
Thank you.
All right, bye.